What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the fourth episode of the lineup, or I should say episode 4.5. We recorded episode 4 about 2 weeks ago, and the file corrupted. So we went episodeless. We were not able to put an episode out, and we took a little break, gather our heads, and here we are. We're back for another episode. So we're sorry to keep everybody waiting, but we are back. We got a lot of stuff to talk about, and we're going to keep up weekly track as we were doing in the beginning, and we're going to continue to do that, keep everybody posted on all networks. So I think the first thing we want to talk about, we've discussed, is the NBA. I think the biggest thing people are talking about right now is the MVP race. It's interesting. Last night, big game between the Jazz and the Sixers. Obviously, people are arguing about the winner and how that went down, but Joel Embiid, once again, is proving like he may be the MVP of the league. He probably deserves it right now. And yeah, I wonder, what do you think about this?
MVP race. I think it's pretty similar to I don't know. I think it stayed kind of constant and consistent for the last few weeks. I think Embiid, actually, no, because the Nuggets have fallen off a little bit. Maybe Jokic drops. Usually MVPs are, I don't know, top 3-ish seeds with the exception of Westbrook and what year was that? 2017?
Yeah, but that was the triple-double, the first triple-double year, and everyone was like, oh my God, he's sick.
Yeah. I won't get into why I think triple-doubles are overvalued, but
they are.
Yeah, and the Nuggets have fallen off to what, 6 or 7 seed at this point, right? Jokic has still been crazy though.
They're definitely not performing to the levels they should with that roster, and I think it's hard when you have guys like LeBron James. I don't think LeBron personally should be this high in the MVP conversation, but LeBron's up there. Embiid is leading his team to the 1 seed as a clear-cut number 1 guy. I think James Harden should be getting some MVP recognition for what he's done with the Nets. I mean, I get it. They have 2 superstars. Kevin Durant has not played in 2 weeks. He is probably the second best player in the world, and they're 9 of their last 10. And Harden is putting up triple-doubles every game. And I know triple-doubles are a little overrated, but these are efficient scoring games with 15 assists. He's leading the league in assists. He's averaging 30 points a game since coming to the Nets. I think Harden should be up there. Steph Curry is the only reason the Warriors have more than 5 wins this year. I don't love him, but Damian Lillard, I mean, last night that was insane.
Shout out to him. He clutched it out for me, made me win my bet. So shout out to him. I didn't look good at the end of the game, but I was like, why are you shooting that? Takes a step back, drills it. I don't remember who he shot it over, just in the guy's mouth. It's like, God damn.
Dude, that stare he gives, the classic. Remember in the Westbrook thing, he was like that? He fucking hit him with the stare, and I was like, sheesh, Dame's talking business.
Man, but yeah, I agree with you, Harden. I've been watching much of the Nets, but he's putting up a lot of numbers with them. And what are they, second or first? Are they first? No, they're second.
Second, we have 1 less win. We have the same amount of wins as the Sixers, 1 more loss. So we're half a game out of first place.
Yeah. Anyone else? Donovan Mitchell, just because of the Jazz record, I think that's more of a team. That's more due to the team, the record. Okay. I think he's the best player on their team, so he's probably up there for MVP right now. Is there anyone else? Yeah, you mentioned Curry, you mentioned Lillard. Giannis, but on the end of that, on that list, maybe just because he's Giannis. LeBron, end-ish of that list. I mean, you could low-key throw Chris Paul in there.
Fair.
Low-key.
The Suns, we wanted to talk about the Suns. They are they the 2 seed in the West?
They're the 2 seed in the West right now.
Yeah, the Suns are fun. I actually really like the Suns. I've been talking about this for a while. I like DeAndre Ayton. He plays a very old type of center role where he gets a lot of rebounds, he gets a lot of points, and he's a big defensive presence. Not as big as he should be, but he's up there.
Yeah, he's not a great defender. He's a big body in there.
Yeah, Chris Paul is seemingly wherever Chris Paul goes, this man is rejuvenated. And Devin Booker is, I don't know how this man did not make the All-Star game right away.
Either.
He should have made over Zion Williamson, but we don't need to argue that. He's incredible. So I think the Suns, I mean, I don't know who you'd give the MVP to on that team. I think Book is ridiculous. And I think Chris Paul is also ridiculous. I just don't know if either of them would be MVP type of players just because the two of them, as well as Ayton, are just like a collective unit of good players.
I think Booker and Paul cancel each other out. But I think we have to look at the impact that Chris Paul has on a basketball team.
Ridiculous.
And I think it's showing. He doesn't put up the necessarily the stats. You look at the Thunder last year, no one thought they were a playoff team. This year, the Thunder, they're bad, but they're kind of scrappy. I always take them in bets because they're a scrappy
They're
team.
the best plus team. Like when they're like plus 16, you just hammer the Thunder.
Yeah, you hammer the Thunder every time. But you look at them now, they're not a playoff team. I mean, they lost a couple other pieces, but and now you look at the Suns. Look at the additions they made. Jay Crowder, solid role player. I don't even know who else they added to their team. I think
Dario Saric came back off an injury.
Yeah, most of their team has stayed pretty constant with Aaron Baines leaving. I think they have Etuan Moore. I don't know how many minutes he gets, but I think he was an addition they made. But you look, they didn't make any big additions besides Chris Paul. And they went from a borderline playoff team to a 2 seed in the West because of his impact defensively, as a leader, as a playmaker, as a guy who can score when needed. I mean, you can't argue his impact. That's why you could argue he's in the MVP race because of that and their position in the West right now.
Yeah, Chris Paul is a winner. If we don't forget, Chris Paul was 1 game away against the Warriors with Kevin Durant, which we won't forget. They were 1 quarter away from going to the NBA Finals, and I think that team would have beat that LeBron-led Cavaliers team. That LeBron-led Cavaliers team got swept by the Warriors. That Rockets team took them to 7 and basically should have won that series. I agree with you about the Chris Paul impact. I think locker room wise, he is probably the most valuable player in the NBA. Just because he's shifted the culture and he's made them a winning team. He is a mid-range excellence. I do not like the mid-range shot. I think it's a very inefficient way of scoring. But when you look at Chris Paul's game, it's the way that he carries himself in the middle of the court, the 3-point line. He just has this fadeaway game. He has this way of shooting. He's like the shot-making ability of Kevin Durant, but he can't be Kevin Durant due to his size, and he still makes it work.
He just like he can. I think he could be not quite what Curry, Lillard, Kyrie are as a scoring, but I think he could average like 23 a game if he was all right. I'm gonna go get buckets, but he's more like looking to get guys open before he takes his shot. And what is he probably averaging? 15 to 18 points. He's actually on my fantasy team. I'm gonna go take a look, but
that's efficient. I think Chris Paul is going to be the first person to teach you when you're at a Chris Paul basketball camp. But you don't need to score 30 points a game to be a perennial all-star who is well loved by the media. I mean, everybody likes Chris Paul. He's a winner, and he's just like fundamentally better than anybody else you're going to find on the court.
Yeah, and he could score from any level. He's clutch. I just look. He's averaging like 16 a game. He's averaging like I think 9 assists or something crazy.
And what is Book averaging? 25?
Yeah, around 25 a game. Yeah, 9 assists. I mean, his impact is undeniable, I think. I guess we could get into the 1 seed now, unless you have any other thoughts.
No, I mean, the Jazz are playing team basketball at its finest. I mean, they have actually such a deep roster. Donovan Mitchell and Rudy Gobert are not superstars. They are both stars. They are excellent NBA players. And then you trickle down to the other guys they have, and they just have like this very firm set. Mike Conley is a very good third option. Bojan Bogdanovic is a fantastic shooter. Joe Ingles is Joe Ingles. He's a decent shooter as well.
Mhm.
They just have these pieces that very much coincide. Quinn Snyder's a really good coach who has been with this team for a few years now, developing this rotation stuff. I think the Jazz are a legit team. I think the Jazz are good enough to win the Western Conference. It's if they can put it together in the playoffs. If they can't, then they're a regular season team. Then they're going to be a Bucks. But you never know what can happen, man. I think they could give us a run for their money.
I think they're missing that superstar player. I don't think they're going to be able to. If you look at all the championship contenders and the people who've won championships in recent years, they usually have a superstar caliber player on their team. And the Jazz really, even though they're a cohesive unit, no doubt, they have, I think their roster carryover every year seems to stay pretty consistent. They have the same guys, except for, Derek Favors, but was a signing they made this year, but he also was on the team. Yeah, and he was also on the team for many years before that. He came back to the Jazz this year. And if you look at their entire rotation, they've been on, except for Conley, I guess.
They got Conley last year, wasn't it?
Yeah, last year. But most of these guys have been on the roster for a few years now, at least. And I think Conley's starting to fit in his role and starting to gain some chemistry with his teammates, and I think that's showing right now. They're defensively, they're great with Gobert as their anchor, and Mitchell and Conley as a good defensive backcourt. Royce O'Neal, very good defender. Bogdanovich, not the greatest defender, but if you have all those other guys who can defend, it's not as bad. We didn't talk about Jordan Clarkson having a career year off the bench, probably easily sixth man of the year.
It's not even a question. Jordan Clarkson is actually, funny enough, been so criminally underrated his entire career. Like when he's on the Lakers, he was a trade piece to get Isaiah Thomas. Then on the Cavs, he got traded. What did they trade it for? Wasn't it like 2 second-round picks?
Something, not a lot. Yeah, something like that.
Yeah, Jordan Clarkson is really good. Like he's pretty much the best sixth man you're going to find. He puts up unreal scoring numbers, very efficient, not too bad of a defender anymore. And he is just like so super good for their chemistry. He's not a guy who's going to come out there and yell at you. He's just going to do what he needs to do, and he's going to help win you games.
Yeah, he's a prototypical six man, just great scorer off the bench. Not really a passer or anything. He's kind of like a Lou Williams, but a little bigger and way better defensively. And you could couple him with Ingles, who's more of a playmaker off the bench and good shooter. Niang, I don't know if Niang, if they maybe should look into filling his spot in the rotation. I haven't been
defensive. That's what he's there for. He's a big ass dude.
Yeah, he's not great. Favors a solid bench center. Anyone else that I'm not really thinking.
Royce O'Neal, not too bad.
So who's their bench point guard? I'm trying to think.
I think Clarkson takes a lot of minutes
at the
of that. I can search and find what the Jazz rotation is.
I'm trying to think. I feel like it's a solid guy. Maybe they don't even.
Yeah, I feel like we're missing somebody significant. We actually are. I don't think we are missing someone significant.
Really? They just play Clarkson at point.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
On ESPN, Donovan Mitchell is listed as their backup point guard and Jordan Clarkson being their third. They're gonna make moves, and figure out the roster. I can see them being a big buyout candidate. I don't know why. I could see like Blake Griffin just signing there. He's not that good anymore, but just like random pieces like that. Boogie Cousins, another one. I can see him going to a team like the Jazz. I don't really know where he's going to go. I think he's a mainstream type of guy. I think he's going to sign with like the Clippers or something.
I'm trying to think of where. I don't see him fitting with any single team that has reported to have interest with him. And he just doesn't make sense for any team. He's not a good enough. He's okay. He's not a good enough scorer where you could just have him come off the bench and go get us buckets. He's not a good defender. He's just a big body.
He
So
won't come off the bench. That's his problem. The one thing he hated about the Rockets was Christian Wood, who is the second leader in most improved. He's really good. I think he's a star in the making. And he's like, I'm not sitting behind this guy. He does not deserve minutes over me. Why are you bringing this up?
I don't know. He's a little of a head case, not a great teammate. He doesn't I don't know why he would just leave the Rockets. It doesn't make any sense to me. I can't think of a team that would be like, oh, they can use Boogie.
He actually left the perfect situation where he can have a good year and then get a contract next year to a team that actually would help him out. But that's that. Victor Oladipo declined a contract extension, 2 years, a decent amount of money for how he's been playing. The Rockets have lost like 14 straight games. I think he's gone at the deadline. I don't know who's trading for him. I guess Miami's been linked to him an excessive amount, but what do you give up for Victor Oladipo at this point? A first-round pick?
I was thinking about this because I want the Knicks to look into it because I'm not sure he's worth a first round pick because of his injuries. I think you give up a couple seconds and a youngish player, you could get him, especially with an expiring contract. It's hard to say what he's really worth. I don't know what it's hard because I don't know what teams are willing to give up. If there's a team that is a playoff team or borderline team, they're like, we want him. Some of them might be willing to give up a first round pick, especially like a mid-market type of team.
Yeah.
But he's been hurt so much, and I don't know if he's been great when he's been healthy. That I
didn't even know
could
he
not
was
tell you
playing.
that.
I didn't know he was playing yesterday.
Yeah, I actually
Like,
won't look.
seriously, watching this Nets Rockets game, I didn't even think. I forgot Victor Oladipo was on the roster. I was like, oh my God, John Wall is like literally doing this on his own. And I was like, wait, Victor Oladipo is still on the roster? What?
All right, so he's only played 15 games out of what 35.
Yeah, he's always hurt.
39% from the field on 19. He's getting up 19 shots a game.
Yeah, he's
31% from three. That's just awful. That's not good enough.
Yeah.
Simple. Oh, that's just on Houston. Sorry. Total for the year is 33% from three, 40% from the field. So not that much better. He was just.
I can see a team who's contending giving up a first round pick like Miami, but Miami also doesn't have many first round assets. So if you're a team like the Knicks, you're definitely not going to give up a first round pick, but you can trade like 2 seconds and like Kevin Knox for him.
That's what I was thinking.
Yeah, I don't think that's too bad of a situation for you. I mean, he's an expiring contract. If it doesn't work out, he's done after the year. Look, 2 second-round picks or something. Obviously, guys like Mitchell Robinson came out in the second round. Nets backup center Nick Claxton, who's like actually breaking out pretty well as a second-round pick. There are second-round picks who pan out, but I think it's worth it for a guy like Oladipo, who it's just like, whatever, we'll see how this works.
Yeah. Also, the Knicks have the Detroit's second-round pick, which might end up being 31st. So it might end up almost being a first-rounder. I think Oladipo, I think he just fits the Knicks because they need a wing scorer desperately. And although he's not like Zach LaVine or Bradley Beal, like he's something better than what they have. And he's a good defender. And he doesn't need to be a number one. He can be the number two and not have so much pressure on him. And all we really want, more than anything, him to hit like threes consistently, even though that's not necessarily like his best contribution to the game. And I think I would have interest re-signing him if I were the Knicks, depending on what else is out there and who's willing to sign with them next year. So it could end up working out for them if they do. And Miami, to me, doesn't make too much sense because they have Hero and Robinson, even though they can't defend a garbage can. They're pretty young and already good wing scorers. I don't really see his fit on that roster too too much.
I don't know why he wants to go there so badly.
I think it's the culture.
There,
Everyone loves that Heat culture, and they're going to be good. They're going to end up making the playoffs. They just started off
yeah,
that
of
way.
course. I think other stuff we want to talk about, awards. Rookie of the Year is the awards finished. Lamelo is actually, I saw Stephen A say this. Lamelo's everything we thought Lonzo was going to be, and then some. Lamelo's pretty good. He's not the best defender, unlike what Lonzo has, but his offensive skill set, playmaking, selflessness is remarkable for a rookie.
I think Stephen A's point is not totally right. I think he you could see he had more potential than Lonzo. Lonzo,
yeah, 100%.
Lonzo, his shot's a little bit better than Lonzo's. I think his passing ability he's more of a flashy guy than Lonzo. You could see him making tougher, Luka Doncic type, Jokic type passes with some flair. Scoring wise, kind of similar. Maybe Lamelo's a little better, but you could from the eye test, I was like, he's better than Lonzo was.
Agree.
Or has the potential to be better than Lonzo was at the same age. And he's proven that.
Yeah.
There's no one else in the Rookie of the Year that's really close to him, I think.
Yeah, I think it's LaMelo's award at this point.
Yeah.
Coach of the Month. This is a little argument between the two of us, I guess you can say. However, I do agree with you. The only validation I'll give why Steve Nash should have won it is because he just got a top 7 player in the league. And although many people will be like, oh, you just got James Harden, you Kevin Durant, Kyrie Irving, you're just supposed to win games. But it's hard. You heard what everybody used to say. There's only one basketball. There's only one person who holds the ball. And Steve Nash and the 3 players have worked pretty well in creating a system to where there is one basketball in which they share it. They understand their roles. He's got that unit together. And I think Steve Nash is maybe coach of the year, coach of the month in the fact that he actually figured this thing out. But I do agree, Tom Thibodeau, making the Knicks a relevant basketball team is quite impressive.
Yeah, I mean, you made some good points. I agree with that. I think you can't just assume that 3 superstars who like having the ball in their hands will play well together. They have been great. Thing is, talent will win you games over defense and hard work usually. So usually if you have enough talent, you could figure it out. In my opinion, most of the time. That's why I give Thibodeau the nod, because coming into the season, there was no expectations for the Knicks to be a decent team. I would say at least top 5 worst team, probably top 3, top 2. I saw them as. I thought the only teams that might have been worse were the Cavs in terms of talent. And he's made them a 500 team, 5th seed in a pretty trashy East right now. But they really had no expectations, and they've kind of created a culture, a defensive culture, hardworking culture to become a solid team. And that's the reason why I think he should be coach of the month. And I don't think he'll be coach of the year because Quinn Snyder, if the Jazz keep on this pace, Quinn Snyder deserves it because they're just playing amazing, and they're talented but not the most talented. Not expect to be a 1 seed, but it might end up there. So
yeah, I mean, I completely agree with you. This Knicks team gives me big 2016 Nets, a little different built rosters. Oh no, 2018 Nets, my mistake. When they had D'Angelo Russell, they were the 6th seed in the East that year. They had guys like D'Angelo Russell, who was their best player. Karis LeVert was starting. He was a young guy, kind of like Emmanuel Quickly. That was the year D'Angelo Russell was an all-star, kind of like Julius Randle. And I think those 2 teams give me a lot of comparisons, although they were better at different things. They're teams where the coach deserves recognition. Kenny Atkinson got his recognition that year, as Thibodeau does deserve. I'm not a big Thibodeau fan. I think he runs players to the ground, but he hasn't done that with the Knicks. He's actually had a pretty firm rotation in which the guys actually are playing well. So I do agree that Thibodeau will get many votes for coach of the year. Should be top 3, should be top 5. We'll see. from there, but recognition is there. He's doing a good job with a less talented team.
Yeah, I have some issues with him in terms of sets and out of bounds plays. Sometimes he keeps the starters in for too long if they're playing badly. The other day they were killing Detroit and all the starters were in till basically the end, which I was kind of mad about. But generally he's done a fantastic job and I don't have any big complaints.
That's good. I'll tell you that in a coach. You just don't want to have any big complaints. He's doing a really good job with that roster. And overall, I'm not the biggest Knicks fan, obviously being a Nets fan. There's like whatever Twitter rivalries there are, but it's impressive. I'll say that. It's like actually an impressive season for the Knicks. And I think that it's a good building point. It's a good way to convince stars to come to your team. The reason that the Nets were able to get 2 all-stars and Harden to request a trade is because they had a good culture. I think the Knicks are building the culture and pushing out the old regime, which is
you have to just foundation and culture. You have to be somewhat good already. They're not going to come to a bottom 3 team in the league
because they have a good city around
them. Yeah. I guess we could talk about
the All-Star game.
All-Star game.
Yeah.
What do you think about the rosters?
I think a lot of guys who did not make the All-Star team deserve to make the All-Star team. I said this earlier. I thought Devin Booker deserved the nod over Zion Williamson. I am very underwhelmed by the Pelicans. They have a decent roster. They have terrible floor spacing, and I think that's a reason why they're not as competitive. But if you're telling me that if you're starting a franchise right now for the second half of this NBA season and you're picking Zion Williamson over Devin Booker, I'm like kind of confused because Devin Booker is the probable best player on the second best team in the West record-wise. I don't see why Booker was not initially given the All-Star nod. In the East, I'm pretty much cool with everybody. Domantas Sabonis deserved it. I'm happy he got the nod, obviously due to the Kevin Durant injury. Harden should have been a starter over Tatum, but other than that, I think everything's fine. I'm happy Zach LaVine made the All-Star game. I'm happy Julius Randle made the All-Star game because he gives me big D'Angelo Russell vibes, and I obviously wanted that so bad. I think Jimmy Butler should have been an All-Star, but he's missed a lot of games and all of that.
The only argument to me you can make, there's 2 arguments you can make about Booker over Zion is Suns are a high seed, number 1. Number 2, Ingram and Zion have kind of canceled each other out. That's the other argument you can make. But honestly, I was not a huge Zion fan. I just think that he's not going to get much better than he is right now.
Fair.
And wasn't really going to improve on what he did last year, even though it was in limited games and limited minutes. But I watched him against the Bucks, and I go, wow, this guy is fantastic. Like, he was killing them. A very good defensive team. He was killing them. And like, because at first I couldn't understand how he wasn't guardable, but his athleticism and strength is too much sometimes for teams. Even if you just sit in the paint, he'll still finish over you because of his strength and athleticism. And I saw that, I'm like, wow, he's just way better than I thought he was. And I was like, his
I like Zion.
Stats.
I may be going to the Pelicans game tonight, actually.
Oh.
I like watching the Pelicans play, obviously being that I am 15 minutes away from the stadium these days, but I just think Devin Booker was the better All-Star candidate. But it's fair. They're both good players. They're both in the All-Star game now, which is nice to see. And that's it. Dunk contest is underwhelming. I am not excited for it. It's Obi Toppin and Anthony Simmons, Anthony, and Cassius Stanley. I didn't even know he's in the NBA.
Cassius Stanley might be interesting, but the other 2, Obi Toppin's too tall. Usually doesn't make for a good contestant. And Anthony Simons, I didn't even know he had any bounce. Apparently he does.
Yeah, I've seen videos. Dude, he's got bounce. Yeah.
I wish it was Zion or Morant or what are some other guys off the top of my head that I'm not thinking of, but
Zion, Ja,
Aaron
Derrick
Gordon,
Jones.
yeah, Derrick Jones, yeah. I
Lame
the
selections.
guys they got were not the way you get people to tune into that. I mean, they're probably gonna because it's at halftime of the game, but is to put superstars or star players in it, and they didn't, and no one's gonna really care, and it's kind of disappointing because the dunk contest should be maybe the best event at the All-Star game, and it's not gonna be.
Yeah, they've kind of strayed away from getting superstars lately, and it's made it less interesting.
Well,
Uh,
superstars aren't willing to do it. You gotta find a
yeah,
way to get them to do it.
I say just pick a charity to donate to. Like it's the small things that you can convince guys, put it in the bargaining agreement, like give them money under the table, like just something
Nah,
interesting. Like
just give them a little. Be like, hey, if you participate, you get a million extra, and if you win, you get another million or something. I don't know.
yeah, look, if you're $5 million to an NBA marketing stunt is genius because who does I will personally watch a LeBron James, Zion Williamson, John Morant, Derrick Jones Jr., Zach LaVine dunk contest like 30 times because that'd be
Mm-hmm.
fun. That's some stuff to remember. It's a great marketing tactic. The other contest, the skills challenge, is very mediocre.
Whatever.
3-point contest, they literally didn't even get the best spot up shooter in the NBA in the 3-point contest. So I probably will not be watching it.
Who's in it again? Zach
Joe Harris is not in
Levine.
the 3-point contest.
Maybe he
Uh,
didn't want to do it.
no, he just didn't get an invite. He literally won the contest against Curry 2 years ago, and he's like 42% from three this year, and is the fourth leading scorer on the best team in the East.
Well, Curry's in it.
Yeah, I think
Curry,
Curry's.
Levine.
I'll get the list now. All right, so the participants for the 3-point contest are Devin Booker, yeah,
Fair.
Jaylen Brown,
It's all the people that are going to be there already.
yeah, Steph Curry, Zach LaVine, Donovan Mitchell, Jason Tatum. I think if you're pulling people out, like in the net situation, all three of their best players are going. Why doesn't Joe Harris just go? Like,
It's all about who's going to be there already. I'm sure they
yeah,
asked a bunch of people in the All-Star game if they want to do the dunk contest, and all of them said no, and that's why they had to get outside people. I think the 3-point shooting contest is less demanding, so it's like an easy yes for guys. But
yeah. I don't know.
that's the only reason.
Robert Covington's in the skills challenge. That's the one name. Like, it's just,
Yeah,
why?
they couldn't get them the All Stars in the skill challenge really either, probably. So I know Julius Randle's in it.
Yeah, he is in it.
It's probably like the only All Star they got in it.
I've watched one skills challenge ever. Do you know why?
Well, because like the Nets guy was in it.
Spencer Dinwiddie was in it. He won it.
Yeah.
That was all I cared about. Like, I just don't care about the skills challenge. But if they got good guys in it, like if they put Zion and like Jason Tatum again, and I don't know, Luca, I'd watch it. The names aren't interesting enough.
I usually watch it, but I don't care about it, or I just turn it on. Maybe I don't really pay attention. It's just not the whole thing is just not. I don't care who's in it. It's just not really an exciting
Event.
event.
You gotta switch that. You gotta do something fun.
They gotta find something else.
Yeah, really.
The Mavericks are are apparently trying to shop. They've denied this. A player not to be named. I mean, I'm not saying the trade was good at the time. I didn't like the trade. I think they should have got more draft.
You said you were a Nets fan on Twitter. I'm not gonna forget that.
That never happened.
It did happen.
That never happened. That never happened. No, yeah, I wish I got more draft capital and more young players instead of trying to just clear cap. I mean, it's worked out in hindsight, actually.
Yeah, no, it actually did.
But at the time, I wanted them to get more draft capital. But we're not. Knicks fans warn them a little bit with his character. Apparently, he's been difficult to work with. His brother and his agent. He's got a little bit of a me issue. and he's been hurt all the time, which we could have warned the Mavericks fans about. He was always hurt on the Knicks. Even when before the ACL, he would have nagging like ankle injuries, like after just jumping to get a rebound. Like happen all the time. And I'm happy. It makes me happy to hear that. What?
That's what happens when you're 7'3".
7'3", and yeah, I guess because usually when you're that tall, when you get to 7'2" and above, you get those lower leg injuries. I think a lot.
Yeah,
like Yao Ming was like, he was amazing, but his injuries screwed him. I'm trying to think of someone else that tall, but yeah, that's the main example.
Nobody that tall is shelf life. They just don't.
It's and you could think that Porzingis might just go the way he played. He's more on the perimeter, but even with that, he gets hurt all the time. I said his name. I didn't mean to say his name.
We know who you're talking about. I don't even know where he's going. I think teams like the Hawks would trade for him. I don't even know.
I don't think there are many teams that would trade for him. They might have to get compensation back for him. That's how awful he's not. He hasn't. Apparently, also, he can't move anymore. Like, he can't move laterally to play defense, and teams just attack him. And one of his strong points earlier in his career was that he was a really good defender and could eventually be Defensive Player of the Year because of his rim protection ability and possibly his ability to guard guards because he was just quick for a big guy and had good footwork and fast feet for a big guy that can move with guards. And look at him now.
It's actually interesting. I just looked at his stats. He's averaging 20 and 8, which is actually not terrible. I guess it's just like overall he does not look great. I've seen his decision making. Did you see that one play where he just shot it from the logo and Luka just looked at him like, dude, what are you doing?
He on the Knicks, he always would he played like such a I don't want to say it, like a bitch.
Yeah.
Play like a bitch. He would sit he's 7'3". He would post up at the elbow and shoot fadeaways over guys that are 5 to 6 inches smaller than him. And he was really efficient at the beginning of the year, and then he got less efficient because they're just terrible shots in general. He would never bang in the post ever. And he would
7'3".
Yeah, but I want to actually look at his. How many games has he played? He's played 20, which is not a lot, but actually more than I thought he played.
Yeah, I mean, Porzingis hasn't played more than like 3 games in the season in a minute.
Yeah, that's crazy.
So it's actually impressive.
57 last year.
Yeah. That's about it for him. I don't think he's going to get traded, to be honest with you. I think they're going to keep him, and they'll go from there. The Mavs will figure this out. They got to sign somebody. Yeah, I think transitioning off of the NBA, the MLB season is starting up soon, and we are excited for that. I think we should make some predictions for what's going to happen. I think this can be a fun little thing to look back on at the end of the season. Do you know who you think is going to win every division?
I think so.
Yeah, I pretty much know too. I think in the AL, I think the Yankees run away. With the East, I think the Twins will win the Central. Maybe the White Sox. I think the White Sox could win it as well. I think
that'll be a dogfight. I think the Indians could just because of their pitching is so good. They probably have to pick up a couple other bats, but their pitching is just so good that they got a chance, I think.
Yeah. And then I think the Astros will win the AL West, but I think the A's can make a run for their money. And I think the Angels could win like 86 games and like be a wild card, but I don't even know what to expect with them. Wild card teams, I think whoever doesn't win between the Twins and the
White Sox.
Twins and the White Sox will be wild card 1. I think the A's and Angels will be the other, and I think the Blue Jays will make a fight. I think those 3 teams are pretty much the 3, one team in each division, pretty much. And then the NL, I think the Mets are going to win the NL East with the Braves right behind them. I think the Phillies actually have a pretty good year as well. The Central is like disgusting of a division. I think the Cardinals will win the Central just because every other team is not good. And then in the West, I think the Dodgers are going to win like 100 games, maybe more. I think the Padres are going to have the second or third best record in the NL. Whoever does not will be first wild card. And I think the Braves, Padres will be two of the best wild card teams we'll ever see.
I agree with most of. Going back, I'll go back to AL East, Yankees. I would say. Yeah, I just don't think the Blue Jays have enough pitching. The Rays got rid of their two of their best pitchers.
Mm-hmm.
You got in the Central. I agree with you. The Twins. I think the White Sox have. No,
The White Sox have a ridiculous hitting roster. And
I just don't think Lance Lynn is as good as people think he is. He's an innings eater. He's maybe a third. He's probably a 3 in a rotation.
Giolito's the one.
Yeah, who's there? And Keuchel had a good year last year, but can you rely on that again? Their pitching is a little bit questionable, but their offense is fantastic. I'm trying to think of people that just came out of nowhere on their team. Everyone.
Tim Anderson.
Tim Anderson could hit before, but he was even better last year. I don't think Abreu will ever have a season like that again.
No, that was ridiculous.
We'll see how good Robert is. Jimenez is pretty good. We'll see if he keeps it up.
They got good pitching. Liam Hendricks, they got him for the bullpen.
They got Liam Hendricks. Who plays third base for them?
Who is their third baseman?
Madrigal plays second base for them.
Yeah, Madrigal is really good. He's on my MLB The Show team last year. He's pretty good. Adam Eden's good. Michael Kopech's coming back. Yohan Moncada.
Yeah, he plays third for them, right?
Yeah. Carlos Rodon. Oh, they got Yasmani Grandal.
Yeah, playing catcher. Yeah. Second best catcher probably.
Yeah, they have a pretty ridiculous roster. I think. Oh, Aaron Bummer is not too bad.
I've heard of him.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think they actually may beat the Twins.
They could. I think that's kind of a toss-up. Yeah, and whatever team doesn't win will be a wild card.
Yeah.
West. Yeah, I think the Astros will win, but the A's are up there, and the Angels. No.
You never know with those guys.
Go pick up Odorizzi, please. Go whatever he wants. Go get him. Go get him. Stop screwing over Mike Trout, okay? Go get a pitcher.
He must be so miserable because his front office is so abysmal.
So bad. They try to make big signings and it never works out, ever. Pujols, C.J. Wilson, Josh Hamilton, just a lot 3 in the last 10 or so years.
At least Rendon's worked out.
Yeah, like 30 games? He was hurt last year too.
True.
Yeah, he'll be good. I think he's been good for a while. Go get Odorizzi. Just get him some help, please. I still don't think. I think people overrate their hitting. I don't think it's as good as people say it is. It's not good enough to carry a team to wins, in my opinion.
No way.
And their pitching is just abysmal. And the second wild card in the AL will probably be, I would say probably that's tough. The Blue Jays or the Rays or the A's.
Yeah, that's fair.
NL, you got. I think the Braves are still going to win the division. I think they were already better than the Mets, and they made a couple more additions. Their lineup is stacked. Their pitching, a lot of guys came out of nowhere last year, so we'll see if I'm forgetting some of these guys' names.
They've guys come back from injury.
Yeah, they have Soroka coming back from injury. I love Max Fried. I think he's really good. I think he's going to be a great pitcher.
He also is Jewish legend.
Yeah, Jewish legend.
Charlie Morton,
Charlie Morton, they picked him up. Smiley's is pretty good, and they have
Kyle Wright.
Kyle Wright is the guy I was thinking of, who I think pitched very well for them. They also had a guy that very high prospect that came up, Ian Anderson.
Yeah, they have this center fielder, Christian Pache.
Christian Pache is very good defensively.
Yeah, he's very good defensively. He's
gonna start.
Yeah, him, Ozuna.
Yeah. By the way, Ian Anderson is the guy that I was thinking of, the pitcher that's.
Yeah, he's older, but.
No, he's 22. He's the guy that just came up last year.
I'm a wrong person.
And he's very talented. I don't know if he's going to start for them. I wonder. He pitched very well last year.
Yeah, 3-2. He had a 1.95 ERA.
Yeah, he's very talented. I think they're just. And their bullpen slightly better than them. I think everything they have is probably slightly better than the Mets.
Yeah, that's
maybe the pitching is arguable as a 5-man rotation, maybe not, but everything else better. The Mets have a high ceiling bullpen, but I watched Familia, Gazelman, and Betances pitch today. They suck. Those are guys that have pretty good stuff that could end up being very good in the bullpen, but have had control issues the last couple of years. And I just watched them today. They don't look good. They might have to pick up a couple bullpen pieces. Probably be a very good wild card team. Central, you got Cardinals are going to win that division, but that division's filled with mediocrity. There's a bunch of teams.
I think the Cubs are going to sell their whole roster.
They could, depending on how well their first half goes.
Yeah, I don't really know about the Brewers. They're just weird. I feel like every year they're going to be really good, and they're never good.
They're okay. I mean, I just picked up Jackie Bradley, who's good, but not a huge difference maker for them. Their roster wasn't great already for them to just add him and be like, oh, now we're a playoff team.
No, they're not a playoff team. Unless they're
not.
They have somebody who comes off the water and is like Christian Yelich.
I feel like I wouldn't be surprised if any team besides the Pirates won that division.
Yeah, they're all terrible.
They're all the Cardinals are probably a little bit better than all the other teams. I think people overrate how good the Cardinals are, by the way. They say they're the 5th best team in the National League. Arguable, you could say that maybe the Phillies and the Nationals are ahead of them, but
yeah, I'd probably put the Nationals ahead of them. They could be.
And then you got the West. Dodgers are going to win that division with another insane wild card team in the Padres. Everyone else in that division, Diamondbacks were supposed to have an up year this year, did not, or last year rather. No one else in that division. And the Giants had an up year, but they're not. They can't compete with them.
And the Rockies sold off their roster.
And the Rockies are going to be very bad.
Yeah. MVP. I think AL MVP. Very surprising pick. I think Mike Trout's going to win the AL MVP.
Yeah.
That's a huge shocker. AL MVP. I'm going to go with the hype pick. I think Tatis will win it. I think people want to see him win it so badly to where he'll win it.
Soto, maybe.
Or Soto. Soto is unreal efficiency.
Or Betts. But of those three, I would say.
Toss up there. AL Cy Young, Shane Bieber.
Mm-hmm.
I think Walker Buehler can make a pretty good case. I think Blake Snell can make a good case. Yu Darvish can make a good case. Jack Flaherty, if he's an up year and the Rockies are decent. Jacob deGrom probably is going to win it. He's just like Jacob deGrom. Yeah, that's Cy Young there.
AL, Bieber or Cole probably.
I'd like to see that happen.
Yeah. NL. Buehler did not. I think Buehler is very good, but also overrated. He did not. He was on my fantasy team last year. He wasn't that good. I know it was a 6-game season, but still. So DeGrom, I guess Bauer, as much as I hate that guy.
No.
You don't think so?
It just, I don't know. Bauer, a lot of people talked about this. He pitched against the Central Divisions last year, which were the worst divisions in baseball. He was disgustingly bad the year before. And Bauer's a mental case. He literally has been on like 5 teams in which all of them did not want him anymore. I mean, other than the Reds, but that's different. I don't think Bauer's, I think Bauer's signing will go down as like a really shitty signing, but what do I know? I just don't think he's on the level of DeGrom. And I think I can see a guy like Yu Darvish with a really good 20 where he revived his career. I can see like a Yu Darvish maybe winning it as well.
Yeah, if last year wasn't a fluke, if he actually made changes that they said he made, then yeah. But you got to remember that for a few years before that, he was not what everyone thought he was. He was not. He was a decent, slightly above average pitcher with like insane stuff. I could just never really get it fully done.
Yeah.
Flaherty you mentioned is a good one. Let's see how Scherzer and Strasburg bounce back, but Strasburg's always hurt.
Yeah, I mean, Scherzer is a first ballot Hall of Famer, so Scherzer may have a great year. Poor Scherzer, man. Scherzer would have won so many Cy Young awards if Jacob deGrom was never alive.
Yeah.
Kind of sucks. I don't know what other awards. Manager of the year, I think in the NL Manager of the Year will go to the Padres manager. I don't know who it is actually.
Preller, AJ Preller.
Yeah, I think he's going to be Manager of the Year. That team's so good.
Yeah.
AL, I think there's going to be a team who shocks everybody, and they're going to be like the Kevin Cash. I can see the Blue Jays manager winning Coach of the Year if they're a wild card team.
It's hard to really say right now.
Yeah, baseball's just too unpredictable.
It really is. Both of those are very possible. I don't really know.
Yeah.
Just any good team's manager. Any projected good team's manager. It might not even be projected good team that was manager that wins the award. So
That's true. I think did we cover everything in baseball? I think it's just predictions.
Justin Turner, I mean, I don't really know if there's anything to say about that. He re-signed.
Yeah, okay. Very interesting. Wow,
good player.
Yeah. Wow, the Dodgers have a good roster. No way.
I'm sure not.
And then, I think the last major sport we wanted to cover is the NFL. Weird offseason. Russell Wilson is pissed. That man is so mad. I don't think they're going to trade him, but if they do not help him, I think he actually will just sit because he gets hit so much to where I think Russell Wilson legitimately may have to like biofreeze his body if he doesn't get an O-line that can help him.
And the problem is they don't have any cap or any draft picks, any first rounders. So it's going to be they're going to have to find some way to upgrade that offensive line. I don't know how they're going to do it. They might have to trade a good player to get draft compensation or something. But
I don't know. Weird roster.
Yeah.
Their secondary sucks.
Yeah, when you have a linebacker playing safety, it tends to work like that.
That's fair. They do have a linebacker to play safety. The Seahawks, I think the Rams are better than them.
For sure.
Yeah, I think I don't know if the Cardinals are there. We'll see. The J.J. Watt signing shocked me because I think their offense is really good. I just don't know how much I want to put my stock into them. I think they're a playoff team. I just don't know if they're better than Seattle.
Yeah, I don't think JJ Watt is as good as people say he is, but he got a lot of money. I don't know. I don't watch the Cardinals. I just know they have Murray and Hopkins there.
The Cardinals' big problem is they have a lot of free agents. Hassan Reddick.
Yeah, I know him.
a lot of people think Hassan Reddick is potentially going to go to the Giants, which would be beautiful. Um, Patrick Peterson is a free agent. Larry Fitzgerald, Kenyon Drake, Marcus Golden, Hassan Reddick, Drake, Kirkpatrick.
Marcus Golden's good.
Yeah, these are a bunch of decent defensive players that are hitting the free agency market. Um, if they can't retain Pat Pete, Kenyon Drake's replaceable. He's running back. If they can't replace, I mean, or pay Pat Pete, Marcus Golden, Hassan Reddick, then this JJ Watt signing is just useless.
Yeah, I just think it's a lot of money to give one guy who I don't think is great.
He's just old and he gets hurt every time he steps on the field.
Yeah.
Other than that, we didn't talk about this in our little hiatus. We may have talked about it in the episode that got deleted. Carson Wentz to the Colts. I don't know how significant that is. Everyone thinks he's going to turn it around. I don't have an idea of how he's going to do that. He was so horrible last year. Like, it was like actually kind of scary.
Apparently him and, well, the Eagles aren't a great team anyway, so he didn't have much around him, number one. And also Frank Reich, I think, was his offensive coordinator in Philadelphia when he was successful, and they had apparently had a really good bond. They're both like very religious, and they bonded over that. So people think that he's gonna come back and play well just because of the offense that Frank Reich has and their bond there. I guess. I don't know. It's really hard to say. He was awful last year. The decisions he made were bad. People question his play. Like, he would change. He wouldn't let, like, the coaches call plays or something like that.
He wanted to call plays, and the coach just said, "You're a terrible quarterback."
Yeah.
The front office wanted him. The coaching staff did not. That's the problem.
Yeah.
So that's the Wentz thing. I don't know what he's going to do. I'm just taking a look at their free agents. Jacoby Brissett, T.Y. Hilton, Justin Houston, Malik Hooker, Xavier Rhodes, what a great year. Mo Alley Cox, Zach Pascal. That's some major free agents. They have a lot of cap space. They have an elite defense. You have to retain Malik Hooker. I think you can let T.Y. Hilton walk due to his age. Xavier Rhodes, if Xavier Rhodes walks, you are donezo. Yeah, TJ Carey's not too bad. They need to put the pieces there.
Yeah, I don't know too much about individual football players, but yeah, they were very. I know their defense was good, and Phillip Rivers was okay for them last year just because he had a lot of pieces around him. I feel like they had a decent receiving core, right?
Yeah, I mean, T.Y. Hilton did not have a great year. Michael Pittman is young, very good player.
Did you hear about that story, by the way, that he wouldn't give up his number to Wentz?
Good. I want to give him my number for Carson Wentz. Tom Brady asked for my number. You can have my number, but Carson Wentz does not deserve my number. I think the other major quarterback news that people are talking about, Sam Darnold, obviously, if they trade for somebody or they draft Zach Wilson, which I think is what everybody's saying is going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
I like that. I love Zach Wilson. He's made me so much money. I love BYU athletics. They make me so much money.
Love the Mormons.
I love those Mormons. I talked about this all the time for a semester. Their football team made me so much money. It's unreal.
As a Jets fan, I don't really care what they do with Darnold. If they trade him, get the most out of it. Because I don't know how I feel about him. People want to say that he had no one around him, which is 100% true. He had no one. But he also, some of the decisions he would make in game, like you could make them, like Joe Burrow made the most of what he had, right, when he was healthy.
Yeah.
And I don't think Sam Darnold even did that.
He made the least of what he had.
Yeah, he really didn't. A good quarterback is supposed to kind of make the other guys on his team a little bit better, and he didn't do that. I saw at times I was more confident in Flacco than him. I just hope they get the most for him if they trade him. And I wouldn't be so mad they kept him if they felt confident in him. And if they could restore the offensive line a little, get some targets for him.
Yeah, I think that's a fair thing to say. And I guess a lot of people are saying Jimmy Garoppolo. People think Jimmy Garoppolo may go back to the Patriots. They're in for a tremendous offseason because they're transitioning from a Super Bowl team into rebuild. I'm going to list off some free agents: Trent Williams, Richard Sherman, Solomon Thomas, Kyle Juszczyk, Tevin Coleman, Jerick McKinnon, Jordan Reed, Jason Verrett. These are big names. Nick Mullins, CJ Beathard. I've basically just listed off half the roster. So they got to figure out an identity here because I think you just rebuild at this point.
I don't know. Their defense is very good. It's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to say. If they don't think Garoppolo is a guy, because he obviously got him to the Super Bowl. If they don't think they can win a Super Bowl with him, maybe move on. But he's. I feel like when he's healthy, he's not great. But if you get some targets and an offensive line and a run, like they had a good offensive scheme.
Yeah.
And they're also losing the boy, Robert Saleh, and their passing coordinator that he brought with him from the 49ers. So we'll see how they work out.
Yeah, I mean, I think if they keep Trent Williams and they potentially trade for Deshaun Watson, which could be a little move, I think they'd be right back in the competition. I just don't know if Jimmy Garoppolo in the NFC, which is pretty competitive, is the quarterback of the future.
Especially with the other guys in their division.
Yeah.
Like the Rams are going to be very good because of Stafford now.
And their defense is insane.
And their defense is insane.
And yeah, I think that's pretty much it with the NFL. The draft's heating up. I think Zach Wilson goes to the Jets, but other than that, like nothing's too interesting. I haven't really heard much. I think that's pretty much it for our major three sports. Obviously, every episode we usually do one thing we have watched or one thing we're planning on watching, so we can do that. And I guess the biggest thing I've watched, a lot of college basketball, a bunch of conference tournaments coming up, a bunch coming on now. I'm excited. I love this time of college basketball. March Madness is the best time of the world. Sitting in class, betting on like 20 games, filling out your brackets. Everybody loves March Madness. I'm excited. I'm really excited. I think Gonzaga is the team to beat. I think Illinois is a very good team. They're winning without Ayo Dosunmu right now. Michigan's very good. Baylor is incredible.
Those four.
West Virginia.
Yeah, I think they might get upset because their offense, but
Agreed.
Iowa could just be carried by their amazing offense.
Yeah.
Texas I think has some very talented guys on their team, even though they dropped to like 15. Alabama, apparently, I haven't watched them, but apparently they have an insane offensive team.
Oklahoma is very good. Kansas played Baylor very well. They are giving us a run for their money. Overall, just like very competitive year. I think Gonzaga is like proportions better, but you never know with March. Who knows? Maybe the 16th seed will upset them. You never know. That's just something I watched. What about you?
Very excited. I'm very excited for March Madness as well. Yeah. Not happy. Richmond already lost in the conference tournament in the second round.
You guys lost to Duquesne today? Yeah. Jeez.
Not how I thought the season was going to go. We ended up not being very good. I think third in the conference or fourth.
They were ranked at one point.
They were ranked and they were projected to win the conference, but now they're not going to make the tournament, which is a big sad. But,
that's unfortunate.
Who cares though? I wasn't following them because I was getting mad at how bad they were playing. But and then after the first like 5 or 10-ish games, I stopped watching.
They beat like Kentucky, who's
They
actually
beat Kentucky and
abysmal.
Vanderbilt.
Yeah.
Got destroyed by West Virginia. I think that's it out of the major teams I played. Yeah, I'm actually looking. This is not really a sports kind of. It is kind of sports. The inside story about inside the NBA. I'm looking forward to watching. They're making a documentary about it.
That's
So
cool. Yeah.
I really love that show. So I'm actually looking forward to watching it. I think it premieres tonight, the first part. I don't know if I'm able to watch it tonight, but I'm going to watch it at one point. Something else. Stop following. I always say soccer. Stop watching it because Liverpool's been ass. And yeah, I think college basketball, same as you, man. And the
Super
fight
hype.
this weekend. Weekend.
Israel Adesanya. I threw a lot of money on. I hope he wins. We love you, Israel. He's insane. He's 20-0. I've been playing a lot of UFC for the video game. In all my free time, that's what I've been doing. It is so fun. Just like killing people in a video game. I hope Israel wins for my finances, but that should be really fun. It's at 10 o'clock Eastern on Saturday, so it's gonna be a nice little midnight thing to watch. And yeah, I think the UFC event should be pretty awesome.
Maybe I'm probably not gonna bet on it, but I'll watch it for sure.
I don't blame you. Betting on UFC is a bad idea.
Yeah, especially because I don't know anything. So
yeah. All right. Yeah. So hopefully this file does not corrupt because that would. I think I may actually just jump out of my building at that point. We put way.
Hopefully you live on the first floor like I do.
No, I live on the sixth. So thank you everybody for tuning in to episode 4/4.5. We will be back next week. That is a promise. And we guaranteed our Instagram will be updated as well as our TikTok. We have some new clips. Shout out to our editor, Luke. He's the boy. And yeah, thank you everybody for tuning in. If you have any recommendations, just drop them on Instagram, drop them on TikTok. We are here to talk about it.
Oh, someone did recommend. I realized that. Who was it again?
Eli. Talk about Julius Randle.
Yeah.
We did talk about Julius Randle.
We talked about it a little bit. I guess we could get more into it next episode or whatever if we want.
Yeah. But we listened to
We apologize, Eli, if you're listening, that we talk about it as much as we probably should have.
Yeah, we will take fan recommendations, whatever you want to talk about. We're here to talk about it. We'll do a segment on it maybe every week, something you guys want to hear. And yeah, that is it for this week. Thank you everybody for tuning in, and we'll catch you guys next week.
See y'all.
See ya.